A beautiful figure shot to the top of the green mountain with lightning speed. Within a couple of flashes, she had appeared in front of Xiao Yin. Her pretty eyes were filled with worry. Xiao Yin Gigi, are you all right? Earlier, Xiao Yin grinned and shook his head. He studied Sun Er's tense face and said, Ugh, that person earlier was your father, clan head Gu Yuan. I knew it. Sun Er knit her brows. Her tone faintly contained some fury. It was unexpected that even her father could not resist revealing himself after those fellows had unveiled their faces one after another. Ha ha, clan head Gu Yuan did not say anything to stop the two of us. He only discussed some matters related to the Xiao clan. Xiao Yin smiled and defended Gu Yuan. Is it true? He didn't talk about the matter between us? Sun Er was slightly startled. Clearly, she felt very surprised. Xiao Yin rubbed his nose. He suddenly approached Sun Er's delicate ear and softly uttered a couple of sentences. Sun Er's elegant face immediately turned bright red when she heard his soft voice. Her pretty eyes cut Xiao Yin in a lovely and displeased manner. However, her expression had relaxed a little. Gu Yuan possessed an extremely high position within the Gu clan. If even he opposed their relationship, she would really end up in a dilemma. She was very unwilling to deal with that kind of situation. Let's return first. Xiao Yin Ji, you already possess one of the spots to enter the heavenly tomb. All you need to do is wait for 2 days now, and we will be able to enter it together. Sun Er gently pulled Xiao Yan's hand as she informed him with a smile. Joy flashed across Xiao Yan's eyes when he heard her words. He was worried that the elders within the Gu clan would come up with reasons to prevent him from entering the heavenly tomb. After hearing what Sun Er had said, it was obvious that this problem had been resolved. Thank you very much, Sun Er. Xiao Yan's hand gently rubbed her warm jade-like hand as he softly thanked her. He guessed that Sun Er had helped him again. His act of hurrying to the Gu clan today was related to this. Sun Er hinted at a smile. She twisted her delicate and gentle waist. Her face contained a bright redness as she gently leaned on Xiao Yan's shoulder. She shut her pretty eyes as she greedily inhaled the warm air that caused her to feel relaxed. A warmth rose within Xiao Yan's heart as studied the person in his embrace. His hand gently rested on a delicate waist. At the same time, his head was buried in soft black hair. Upon inhaling a faint fragrance, it appeared as though his fatigue had gradually disappeared. Gu Yuan's body slowly appeared in the empty sky above. He observed the man and woman embracing each other on the mountain top and involuntarily sighed. After which, his body moved, and he once again disappeared. Xiao Xin, you are still the superior one. All agony seemed to have been abandoned within this pleasant country scene. 2 days swiftly passed amid this quiet life. No one from the Gu clan came to disturb Xiao Yan's group during these 2 days. This kind of peace and quiet was wonderful. However, this silence could not last for long. When the morning light of the 3rd day scattered down from the sky, an unusual atmosphere began to spread over the mountain range. Even Xiao Yan's group felt it. Today is the day that the heavenly tomb will open. Sun Er stood in front of the bamboo house and uttered these words to Xiao Yan. Xiao Yan grinned. Sun Er beckoned with her hand, and the snow-white single-horned beast flew out of the mountain forest. Xiao Yan's group quickly got onto it with a familiarity. Finally, the single-horned beast flapped both its wings and flew to the east after Sun Er gave a soft whistle. The heavenly tomb will open deep within the Gu's sacred mountain range. That place are a forbidden grounds of the Gu clan. No one is allowed to enter them normally. It will only open when the heavenly tomb is opened. A gentle breeze blew over the single-horned beast's back and lifted Sun Er's black hair, which extended all the way to her delicate waist. At the same time, she was explaining things to Xiao Yan's group. There is some danger within the heavenly tomb. A countless number of experts from ancient times are buried within it. Although their souls have already disappeared, the energy from when they were alive have transformed into their past appearances due to the mysteriousness of the heavenly tomb. This energy is filled with an extremely powerful offensive strength. Moreover, they also know their Do skills from when they were alive. It will be extremely difficult to deal with them. Sun Er's expression became a little grave when she mentioned the interior of the heavenly tomb. She said, therefore, if one ends up meeting an overly powerful energy body, it is best to try and avoid it. It is rumored that some experts with extremely great strength, when they were alive, have produced energy bodies with some intelligence. They could even be considered a mysterious living creature. A living creature that has been transformed from the dead, huh? Xiao thought aloud. The overly great strength from when these people were alive and the mysterious effects of the heavenly tomb were the reasons why such a strange occurrence happens. The heavenly tomb is divided into 3 levels. The energy bodies on the first level are mostly 3-star Dozuns or weaker. They drift around without any consciousness and are not very difficult to deal with. The second level's energy bodies are between a 3 and 8-star Dozun. They are quite troublesome to deal with. As for the third level, those are genuinely at the peak of the Dozun class. There are even some ultimate experts who have reached the Doshan class when they were alive. Normally speaking, seldom anyone barges into the third level without absolute confidence. That place is too dangerous. Sun Er slowly explained. The tomb of my ancestor, Xiao Xin, is in the third level? Xiao Yin asked. It is rumored that it is in the deepest part of the third level. However, seldom anyone dares to enter that place even from our Gu clan. Sun Er helplessly replied. It is actually so troublesome. There will definitely be a path when we get there. Let's enter the heavenly tomb before discussing our plans. Xiao Yin felt much calmer after this thought flashed across his heart. After which, he asked Sun Er about information related to the heavenly tomb. The single-horned beast gradually traveled deep into the mountain range while the two of them were chatting. Xiao Yan's group had met some people who were hurrying to this place along the way. They were mostly experts from the other 6 clans, and some Gu clan experts. Although they had met them, there were not many conversations. Only the clan members from the Gu clan respectfully greeted Sun Er from a distance before they swiftly left. The flying continued for around 10 minutes before the single-horned beast finally stopped by some steep mountains. At this moment, quite a number of figures had gathered here. Xiao Yan's eyes swept over, only to see quite a number of familiar figures. Xiao Yan's eyes suddenly hardened as they swept across the surrounding mountains. 3 black-robed figures were suspended in the empty air where his gaze froze. A dark and cold aura slowly spread from the bodies of these 3. Hunya. Xiao Yan's eyes narrowed when he saw these 3 people. The fist under his sleeve was slowly tightened. Xiao Yan Ji, be careful of the person leading those from the Hun clan. He is called Hunya. It is rumored that he is quite renowned among the members of the younger generation from the Hun clan, and he is extremely difficult to deal with. He is likely going to be entering the heavenly tomb. You should be more careful if you meet him in the heavenly tomb. Sun Er whispered beside Xiao Yan's ear. I have already met him. Xiao Yan nodded. He was naturally aware of just how strong Hunya was. From his guess, this person was likely as difficult to deal with as Gu Yao. Those geniuses within the clans with long history did indeed possess true strength. They were not the same level as those useless geniuses outside. The members from the Ling clan from the 8 clans did not arrive this time around. That group to the southeast is from the Yao clan. Oh? A thought passed through Xiao Yan's heart. He glanced where Sun Er pointed and saw a couple of figures suspended in the air. There was a medicinal cauldron image on their foreheads. A man, who was leading those from the Yao clan, sensed something when Xiao Yan's eyes landed on this group. He tilted his head and shifted his eyes to Xiao Yan. He was briefly startled before an unfriendly smile was lifted onto his face. Xiao Yin narrowed his eyes when he saw this gaze. It seemed that the people from the Yao clan were prejudiced against him. The eastern side are those from the Lei clan. Old Mr. Meng Tianqi is leading them this trip. However, he will not enter the heavenly tomb. Most of the time, the ones who enter are members of the younger generation. After all, the heavenly tomb is not a bad training ground. Xiao Yin once again shifted his eyes. He looked to a group of people with a lightning mark on their foreheads and nodded. You have already met those from the Yin clan? On the western side are those from the Shi clan. Due to their bloodline, their physical bodies are all extremely frightening. They could be comparable to some of the top magical beasts within the magical beast world. Xiao Yin turned to the west. A group of grayish-white individuals stood there. An enormous rock was tattooed on their foreheads. These are all the people who will enter the heavenly tomb this time around. Other than the Gu clan, which looks after the heavenly tomb, the other clans only possess 2 spots each. Sun Er smiled as she spoke. Xiao Yin slowly nodded. He was just about to speak when he suddenly sensed this entire place trembling. A vast ancient aura slowly spread from empty space. Everyone present felt respect and fear surging from deep within their souls when faced with this ancient aura. The heavenly tomb is about to open, Sun Er softly said as she watched the sky suddenly become dark. Bang! Sun Er's words had just sounded when a shockingly loud noise was emitted from empty space, and a 10,000-foot-large spatial crack spread across the sky. A cluster of silver light gradually surfaced in the middle of this spatial line. Finally, the line transformed into a 1,000-foot-large spatial door with a vast ancient aura spreading from it. This is the heavenly tomb, huh? Xiao Yin muttered to himself as he studied the ancient door standing between the sky and earth. The ancient spatial door stood between the sky and the earth. An ancient aura spread from it, causing everyone's soul to quiver. Everyone should be aware of the rules regarding entering the heavenly tomb. Every clan has 2 places. There cannot be an excess number of people entering. Elder Tong Xian's elderly figure was suspended in the sky. His eyes looked down at the surrounding human figures as he spoke. Everyone slightly nodded upon hearing his words. The rules of entering the heavenly tomb has always been like this. Each clan has 2 places. This has continued even now. However, only the Gu clan, being the clan that guarded the heavenly tomb, received preferential treatment. For example, there were 5 from the Gu clan who could enter the heavenly tomb this time around. This kind of preferential treatment made the other clans a little jealous. Xiao Yin Ji, we will be randomly separated if we enter separately. Therefore, we must enter together. Sun Er turned her head and smiled as she spoke to Xiao Yin. Aye. Xiao Yin nodded. He was extremely unfamiliar with the heavenly tomb. If he had Sun Er with him, he would be saved from many unnecessary troubles. Rumble. The ancient door that was within the spatial crack in the sky suddenly unleashed a loud rumbling sound while Xiao Yin nodded. That large door slowly opened, forming a gap. A glaring light erupted from it and lit up the land. If people have been properly assigned, please prepare to enter the heavenly tomb. Remember, all of you can only remain in the heavenly tomb for 3 years. After 3 years, the heavenly tomb will automatically expel you. Elder Tong Xian once again spoke in a deep voice as he watched the ancient door slowly open. 3 years, around half a year in the outside world, Xiao Yin mused. This was quite a good opportunity. The heavenly tomb was an extremely useful training spot since the flow of time within it was strange. If Xiao Yin were to train for 3 years within it, his strength would definitely increase. Bang! The gap of the ancient door in the sky grew wider. It was 100 feet in size. A dense aura from ancient times rolled out like a fog. Chi! A couple sounds of rushing wind suddenly appeared from within the mountain forest after the ancient door opened. for figures rushed toward the sky with lightning-like speed and entered the door that had just opened in front of many eyes. The members of the Gu clan. Gu Jun has also entered? Xiao Yin was slightly surprised when he saw the four figures. The figure leading them was that strong green-clothed man, whom Xiao Yin had sensed back then. Behind that man was a silver-robed man and a man with a burly appearance. Of course, the person who caused Xiao Yin to be the most surprised was the last figure, Gu Zhan. Gu Yao did not choose to enter the heavenly tomb this time around. It seems he undertook a retreat. Therefore, the elders got Gu Zhan to replace him. Sun Er softly explained. It seems that this failure has been a big blow to him. If he is unable to accept this kind of failure, he will stop at this level. Xiao Yin indifferently shook his head. When he fought with others, he would not become dispirited if he lost. The stronger the opponent, the greater his desire to win. With the state of mind of someone like Gu Yao, it would be extremely difficult if he truly wished to break through to the Do Zun class to become a Do Shang. Compared with Gu Zhan, Xiao Yin felt that Gu Zhan's achievement would be even greater. Gu Zhan's talent might not be as great as Gu Yao, but his character was the most calm and indifferent among all the members of the younger generation whom Xiao Yin had met during these years. This kind of character, which is as firm as a mountain, has bestowed him with an exceptionally indomitable ability to survive. Sun Er nodded. She smiled sweetly and asked, "Shall we also get moving?" Xiao Yin inclined his head, after which he turned his head and looked at the little fairy doctor behind him. He smiled as he said, "The time that I will spend in the heavenly tomb will likely be quite long. You can return to the Falling Star Pavilion first should anything happen. Be careful." The little fairy doctor nodded. Her voice was warm and gentle. Xiao Yin smiled, after which he exchanged glances with Sun Er. Their bodies moved, and they transformed into two light figures that swiftly bolted toward the large ancient door. They subsequently disappeared within the intense light from the large door. The members from the remaining clans began to move one after another after the duo disappeared. They turned into numerous rays of light that flew into the large door. After the final figure entered the large door, an intense ripple suddenly appeared, and the door slowly became illusory in front of everyone's eyes until it disappeared. The foggy place occasionally had some strange fire glows flashing in the distance. They would flash and disappear. A death-like silence covered this foreign land. Qi. The space within the silent land suddenly became distorted. Immediately, two figures, holding hands, slowly stepped out of the space and appeared. The Do Qi within their bodies circulated as their eyes cautiously observed their surroundings. This is the heavenly tomb? Xiao Yin sighed in relief after failing to detect an unexpected situation. He curiously observed his surroundings as he asked, "Aye." Sun Er smiled and nodded. The others had been transported to other places. This heavenly tomb was extremely vast. It was difficult to say whether or not they would run into others. There is an extremely rich energy. It is even stronger than the Gu realm's energy. Xiao Yin grabbed the foggy air in front of him. He was surprised to discover that the natural energy contained within the air was extremely dense, and its purity greatly exceeded his expectations. Sun Er sweetly smiled. She tilted her head, looked at Xiao Yin, and asked, "Which level does Xiao Yin Ji wish to head to?" "If it is possible, I wish to head to Ancestor Xiao Xin's tomb on the 3rd level of the Heavenly Tomb. However, that place is too dangerous. We are in no hurry now. After all, we have 3 years." Xiao Yin mused for a moment before replying. Sun Er did not appear surprised by Xiao Yan's reply. She was aware of his character. Having come here, it was only natural that he would not give up on Xiao Xin's tomb. "Let's get moving. The heavenly tomb is extremely large. We should hurry to the 2nd level first. Based on my estimations, it will take around 4 months or so. Due to the energy pressure within this heavenly tomb, we are unable to fly for long. Therefore, we must spend most of the time walking. Sun Er spoke with a smile. Her pretty eyes landed on Xiao Yin as she said, when we reach the entrance of the second level, Xiao Yin GG might reach the peak of a 5-star Do Zone. Of course, if you are lucky, it is not impossible to even reach the 6-star. Oh, so quick. Xiao Yin was startled. Sun Er softly laughed. She turned her head, and her pretty eyes looked at the foggy air to her right. Her hand was slowly lifted before she suddenly clenched it. Energy swiftly agglomerated when Sun Er clenched her hand. In the blink of an eye, the fog there completely scattered. An illusory body vaguely appeared in Xiao Yan's sight. This is energy body? Xiao Yan was startled when he saw this illusory figure. He had not detected the approach of this thing. They can rely on the energy fog to hide themselves. They will quietly approach us and then launch an attack. Sun Er smiled and nodded. She flicked her finger, and the illusory figure suddenly became distorted. A puff sounded and the figure exploded. A thumb-sized cluster of light swiftly rushed to Sun Er before she grabbed it. This is an energy core. It stores extremely pure energy, and it is the extremely nourishing thing that I had mentioned. Sun Er opened her hand, and a rhombus-shaped, thumb-sized crystal appeared in her palm. It glowed with an extremely rich energy fog. Normally speaking, the energy cores within the heavenly tomb are divided into 9 grades. The energy contained within the core in my hand has only reached the 2nd grade. It isn't considered very good. Those high-grade energy cores are all in the deepest parts of the 1st level or the lower levels. Well, Xiao Yin GG, why don't you give it a try first? Hold it in your palm and use your qi method to absorb it. Sun Er flicked her finger as she spoke. She shot the energy core toward Xiao Yin. Xiao Yin received the energy core and curiously played with it. After which, he did what Sun Er had said. He grabbed the energy core in his hand and circulated his qi method. Following the circulation of the flame mantra, Xiao Yin suddenly felt a chill within his heart. He was stunned to sense wave after wave of warm, pure energy surging out of the energy core like floodwater. After which, the energy surged around Xiao Yan's body. He rejoiced because he barely needed to refine this energy. All he needed to do was circulate it within his veins, and the energy was deposited in his limbs and bones. Finally, it entered his muscles, bones, and cells. The way it seeped in caused Xiao Yin sense the gradually strengthening energy within his body. What a mysterious thing. It is even smoother to absorb it than ordinary medicinal pills. No wonder even the Gu clan, Hun clan, and these ultimate factions hold it in such high regards. It is such a mysterious treasure ground. Xiao Yin opened his hand after the final cluster of energy entered his body, and the energy core had turned into dust. An expression of surprise had surged onto his face. If it was not difficult to obtain such an energy core, it would not be impossible for him to advance to a 6-star Do Zone within 4 months. Sun Er smiled when she saw the shock on Xiao Yan's face. She placed her hands behind her, and her toes were pressed on the ground. Her lovely body appeared just like a butterfly as she elegantly drifted forward. A sweet, clear laughter softly spread. Xiao Yin GG, let's go. Why don't we play a game? Who will be able to obtain more energy cores during these 3 years? Xiao Yin smiled, strode forward, and swiftly followed. He was very curious just how strong he would grow during these 3 years. Fluorescent lights drifted above the foggy land. At a glance, it appeared like the entire world was covered in a deadly silence. There was not even the slightest life force present. This dead silence remained for an unknown period of time. Suddenly, the low and deep sound of rushing wind appeared. A low cry was mixed within it. The sound followed the fog and penetrated through it. If one's eyes were to follow the direction where the sound originated, one would be able to see two blurry figures. Only upon closer inspection, one would discover 10 illusory figures around the two people. These figures had empty eye sockets floating around. Despite the absence of eyes, the speed and strength of these energy figures was not weakened even a little. A majestic energy surged when they attacked. Some of the large rocks on the ground were shattered. Attack? Xiao Yin involuntarily laughed as he watched the energy bodies surrounding him, after which he let out a loud cry. Xiao Yan's figure rushed away almost instantly after his loud cry sounded. At the same time, a lovely figure also flashed and appeared from another spot beside Xiao Yin. A golden light was unleashed from her hand, and it smashed into the many energy bodies with lightning-like speed. A deep explosion spread over the area. Even the dense fog had become much thinner. This kind of explosion continued for a moment before it swiftly came to a stop. Two figures once again appeared together. They exchanged looks and laughed. 5 pieces. Xiao Yin opened his palm. 5 thumb-sized energy cores appeared in it. They emitted a dense energy. 6 pieces. Sun Er also extended her white jade-like hand. 6 similar energy cores appeared in her palm. Sun Er covered her mouth and softly laughed when she saw the difference. She said in a lovely voice, "Xiao Yin GG, I have one again this time around." Xiao Yin helplessly shook his head. Although the strength of these energy bodies was at the 2-star Do Zun class, dealing with 5 of them at the same time was already his limit. If there were any more of them, he would have to use a Do skill. If they continued to compete like this, he was unable to match Sun Er. Absorb the energy cores first. I will stand guard. Sun Er placed all of the energy cores in Xiao Yan's hand as she ordered him. Xiao Yin took the energy cores into his hand without rejecting her. He was aware that he was extremely pressed to raise his strength. Hence, he did not utter any pointless rejections. He received the energy cores and swiftly sat down. His chi method was circulated and wave after wave of rich energy surged from the energy core. It appeared like a thick fog that wrapped around Xiao Yin and poured into his body like an air dragon, following his breathing. Sun Er smiled when she saw Xiao Yin absorb the energy. She gently sat beside Xiao Yin, and her hand parted the black hair in front of her forehead. It had been nearly 2 months since they had entered the heavenly tomb. During these 2 months, the two of them had continued to walk through this vast land. Any energy bodies that they meet along the way would be turned into energy cores and would appear in their hands. Hence, the gains that they had obtained during these 2 months were quite rich, but they felt somewhat regretful since the energy bodies were not very strong. The energy cores that they had obtained only appeared to be of the 2nd grade or 3rd grade. These energy cores were still a little useful. When Xiao Yin absorbed more and more energy cores, their effects seemed to become a little poorer. Only now did he understand that if one absorbed too much of this energy, one's body would form a resistance to it. However, this resistance was much weaker than what was formed against a medicinal pill. This quiet world was extremely beneficial to train in. However, one would have to endure a dullness that was many times greater than the outside world. Fortunately, Xiao Yin and Sun Er were accompanying each other, so the days might appear dull, but there was an additional liveliness. Xiao Yan's absorption of the energy core did not last for long before his eyes slowly opened. He inhaled a deep breath of air, and the energy lingering around him turned into a cluster of air that was swallowed into his stomach. How is it? Sun Er stretched her lazy waist after watching Xiao Yin complete the absorption. Her pretty curves were completely exposed, and her tone contained a tempting laziness. There has been an improvement. However, I am still a ways from the 6-star level. It seems that we must find some higher-grade energy cores. Xiao Yin frowned as he spoke. Haha, we are already approaching the middle section of the 1st level. The energy bodies from here on will gradually become stronger. If we are lucky, We might even be able to meet an energy body with the strength of a 6-star Dozun or higher. The energy cores within their bodies are most suitable to you. Sun-Er sweetly smiled as she explained the situation. Her enchanting smile caused the irritation that had appeared within Xiao Yan's body to quietly disappear. How far is it to the second level? It should take another month or so. The heavenly tomb has 3 levels. The first level is the most spacious. The subsequent 2 levels are a little better. However, the danger will also increase. Sun-Er replied. There is still another month, huh? Xiao Yan mused. He nodded and stood up. He looked to the horizon and smiled as he said, In that case, let's continue to travel. I wonder what those other fellows are like now. Those who can enter the heavenly tomb are all very strong individuals within the clan. They also understand the heavenly tomb quite well. Unless they end up provoking an extremely powerful existence, nothing should happen to them. Moreover, an existence that has reached that level will rarely be found on the first level. Let's go. Xiao Yan nodded, after which he waved his large hand, took a step forward, and quickly headed in the direction of the deepest part of the heavenly tomb. Sun-Er smiled and followed close behind him. Although this world was dull, any dull place would become extremely warm when she could be with him. The vast heavenly tomb was filled with a dense energy fog. Under this energy pressure, anything that flew would feel their bodies grow as heavy as a mountain. One would feel extremely exhausted after flying for a short period of time. Thus, the heavenly tomb appeared endless. The world in the heavenly tomb was dead quiet and uninteresting. However, no mediocre person could enter this mysterious place. The people who could enter stood out from the many geniuses within their clans. Not only did they possess powerful strengths, even their characters were quite calm. Although this dullness was a little abominable to them, it was still within their ability to endure. Under this kind of dullness, it appeared that the concept of time had become much weaker. Hence, Xiao Yan and Sun-Er could not help but feel a little stunned when they saw an energy wall on the edge of their sights after they had spent 4 months crossing the vast heavenly tomb. Is this the entrance to the second level? Xiao Yan asked in a slightly surprised voice after seeing the energy light wall, which seemed to pour down from the edge of the sky. A travel-worn feeling spread from Xiao Yan. His black hair had become a little longer, and his face seemed to have become a little thinner. However, his dark black eyes contained a glint of flickering light. Ever since Xiao Yan and Sun-Er had entered the deepest parts of the first level, they have had to face the attacks of some powerful energy bodies. Xiao Yan was the one who had dealt with most of these attacks because Xiao Yan could only stop Sun-Er from intervening after seeing her destroy a 6-star Dozun energy body in a swift and simple manner. The first level did not pose much of a threat to her, and it would not have much of an effect on her training. However, it was different for Xiao Yan. He was only a 5-star Dozun. If he did not use any Do skills, he would obtain benefits from exchanging blows with those 6-star Dozun energy bodies. Of course, this was temporary. After the number of times they fought increased, Xiao Yan had become familiar with these energy bodies. Hence, the time of the fight had been reduced from a dozen-plus exchanges to less than 10 exchanges. Some of the weaker 6-star energy bodies were dealt with by Xiao Yan within 3 exchanges. Xiao Yan GG, you are currently at the peak of the 5th star and will break through to the 6-star level soon. I suggest you break through before entering the 2nd level. Otherwise, the Do Qi within your body will not be stable if it is full. Moreover, the 2nd level is more dangerous than the 1st. One cannot guarantee that nothing will happen if one advances one's level there. Sun-Er looked at the enormous energy light curtain in the distance before turning her head. She smiled as she gave Xiao Yan a suggestion. Xiao Yan hesitated for a moment after hearing her words. Finally, he nodded. After having trained for 4 months within the heavenly tomb and having swallowed thousands of energy cores, the Do Qi within his body was at a full state. He would be able to break through to the 6th star at any moment. However, one's aura would end up unstable when advancing one's level, and it would not be suitable to stay in such a place. The advancement between levels in the Dozun class requires too much energy. The energy that I have absorbed during these 4 months is something that I would not have been able to obtain in the outside world even after an entire year. This energy has barely reached the requirement to break through. I wonder just what kind of frightening energy one requires to break through the 6th star to the 7th star. Xiao Yin softly sighed in his heart. He swiftly focused his mind, turned his head to Sun Er, and said, "In that case, I will have to ask you to guard me again?" Sun Er smiled and nodded. Xiao Yin swept his eyes around him when he saw her nod. His body leaped onto a large rock, after which he swiftly sat down. He entered his training condition and a cluster Do Chi began to gradually spread from his body. It covered the area within a 100-meter radius. After Xiao Yin shut his eyes and attempted to break through, Sun Er's toes pressed against the ground. Her body drifted onto a large rock. Her eyes were shut, and the activity within a 1,000-foot radius was captured within her heart. Following the silence of these two, the land once again became completely quiet. After this dead silence continued for around 2 hours, a dark and cold wind suddenly rushed over. Sun Er on the large rock suddenly opened her eyes when this dark and cold wind appeared. Her face was ice cold as she looked to the sky in the north. She spoke in an indifferent voice. "Since you are here, why do you need to continue hiding? Have the current members of the Hun clan become this terrible? Ha ha! You are worthy of being in possession of the divine bloodline of the Gu clan. Such perception is indeed praiseworthy." The space in the distance fluctuated after Sun Er's cold voice sounded. Immediately, 2 black-robed figures slowly stepped in the air and arrived. A dark and dense aura slowly spread from them.